Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Suchi, and welcome to AI Minute Mondays. We are in a moment where AI isn't just assisting us, it's beginning to act on our behalf. Agentic AI is opening the door for systems to plan, reason, take multi step actions, and operate more like autonomous teammates than just traditional tools. So, for startups and businesses, this means a dramatic shift. And to dig into what this really means, I'm joined by Debjyoti Paul, who's an applied scientist at Amazon, and he works at the forefront of these technologies. So we'll explore how agentic AI can help companies move faster, operate smarter, and unlock entirely new product possibilities. So, Deb, welcome to the show. And before we begin, can you share a little bit more about your journey and how you've been working with Agentic AI?
Yeah, thanks, Suchi, for inviting me. Um, so I have been working in machine learning and AI for last 9 years almost. So agentic AI is something that is not new. Uh, so an agent is an autonomous function. So autonomous car is an agent. And human have been or people have been researchers have been working on autonomous system for quite some time now. The first, I think, autonomous car was tested, I think, in 1990s or something like that. Of course, like with not at the scale, like at that point there was no Waymo
Hmm.
uh, or, uh, or like Tesla, but but right now, I think so. What I currently work on is more on how agentic AI can be applied at large scale in different products inside my company. And there are many aspects of it that how do you understand the effectiveness of it? How do you understand whether it works or not? So primarily, I work in those directions. Uh, so before doing this, I was working on more like how can you help recommend better content to users. And prior to that, I was also using AI for a long time to detect fraud or to even moderate content.
Thank you, Dave, for sharing that. So, like you mentioned, autonomous agents have been there for a while. It's not new, but the scope of what we are able to do today is going to be dramatically different.
Correct. Yeah.
The prediction models that you were talking about, whether it's the Netflix prediction engine or the Google search, the hyper personalization. So, all of these have been there for a while. But with agentic AI, there's a whole promise to
Yes.
take and automate these whole complex workflows and make decisions that go far beyond just a simple chat or a simple prediction model.
Yes.
In your opinion, what's the biggest opportunity that agentic AI creates for small businesses or startups or anyone who wants to scale very quickly and innovate, possibly in a new direction?
Yeah. So if we talk about traditional machine learning system or traditional AI system, there used to be a specific algorithm that you need to develop. Like for search, you have an algorithm. For a recommendation, you have an algorithm. But what with this new powerful models like large language model like ChatGPT, Claude, what has happened is that uh, that AI or that intelligence has come into our keyboards. So it has been the inflection point where anyone can use or access these models, right? Like now anyone can open up these apps and they can start conversing with that. So that is the first unlocking that has happened. The second thing that has happened is this all these models, uh, whether they are chat or even like some of these are now multimodal, they can use videos. They can also process CSVs or even like complex images or data structures. So basically, what has happened is that these are models which can uh, process your data and then give something back to you. And what now, because of that, this has become very close to what humans also do, right? So what humans does is that every day, like when a lawyer or a person like a tax consultant or investment consultant. What they do from day to day is that they have a lot of knowledge, and given a query and given some data, they give some suggestions or give some recommendation or give some advice. Now this workflow, this process now can be handed over to an agent, because the agent can, with the power of LLM, can take this complex data, can reason on top of it, and then can give decisions. So for any business, for example, like suppose a telecom company uh, today like has to handle all of their customer messages, maybe through human like a center, right? And that's sometimes costly. There's also like there's a bottleneck to that, because you can't like address many people together. So what can happen is that, because of you have a lot of knowledge of your company, what your standard operating procedure, what are your plans and things like that, you can hand it over to like an agent. And the agent, because it has memory, it has reasoning capability, it can converse, because these models are first conversation model. It can converse with your customer and give them suggestion, or give them try how to kind of solve an issue. And that's that way you can now handle maybe thousands of customers at a time, where previously your bottleneck was only the back office responders that you have, right? So now you can think about this agentic AI as kind of that intern who is doesn't have the domain knowledge, but given its power to process huge amount of data, it can go through all the policies, can go through all the documents, and crunch that data, and then reason on top of it, and then can give you, okay, here are what I'm seeing. This can help scale many operations much faster. And that is what is the opportunity today for any startups and business, that look at where those areas where, uh, with some standard knowledge, and the data process is there, and there is some human standard knowledge which can be very easily tractable, which is not like you have to solve a very complex math. Even AI, agents are doing that. Even LLMs are trying to do solve maths, code, and things like that. But if a business figure out, okay, there are certain processes where there are very systematic knowledge that exist,
Hmm.
and if that knowledge can be somehow accumulated in a standard operating procedure in a PDF and given to this process, this agentic AI can make a lot of these workflows much faster. And
Thank
that's what the opportunity is.
So thanks, Dave. So, like you're saying, we have to look at an agentic AI system just like
Yes.
you would a human expert who within your company who would be performing all of these different activities where they use their knowledge, they use the knowledge of what is needed within the organization, and they take some kind of an input, and then based on that input, they perform all of these complex calculations, thought process, decisions, workflows, automate all of this, and then come up with either responses or take actions on those, right? So
Yes.
that's the whole process. And the way you were mentioning it, it's like, especially for small businesses where you cannot invest in too many people, you can totally scale out your operations using these agentic AI systems. So that's
Yes.
great to hear. So that's like a great opportunity for small businesses. But then let's move on to the other side, right?
Yeah.
As companies start using AI and giving it more autonomy, right? The stakes start getting higher, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you see as the biggest challenges that businesses need to address when they go ahead and they are adopting agentic AI? Whether it comes from a reliability, oversight, safety. So, all of these things are still pretty critical, whether it's a small business or it is a larger company or even a traditional business. So, how do companies need to think about this and how can they kind of handle it so that they can still leverage agentic AI without unnecessarily falling into the pitfalls that could be there?
Yeah, and this is a great question. I think this is where I think a lot of founders or a lot of small businesses needs to think more deeply, that how can I, like, what are the shortcomings of the system, right? Like if they know the shortcomings, then they can adopt this much better. So And the shortcomings are many. So of course, like no model is perfect. Like whether in any of this model that exist, they're not perfect. They can make mistake. They can hallucinate. They can generate something that doesn't exist. In they can give you something that seems like working, but if you look inside, it doesn't work actually. Like it has gathered some. It has fabricated some data, or it has done some simpler like hacks to make that work. So there are these kind of problems that exist, which is more on the reliability or the trust side. The other side of it is, of course, like these models can now be, like there are security problems because now you're giving a lot of data. You have to be very cautious that not every small companies or every startups would have capability to host their own model or have their own this large language models. So these models are usually by owned by OpenAI or Claude. And whatever data you put into that, and the data is going outside your
Mm.
company. And I'm not saying that they are this models, the securities of OpenAI or Claude are not great, but I'm saying like you are putting the data out, you're putting your customer data out, and that is always risky. So every company, when they are feeding data to these models, they have to be very cautious of what data they are feeding there. It cannot be something personal data, or it cannot be something that gives out their business secret. And that I think is something that this everyone who is adopting this agentic AI needs to be cautious about. So there is one thing that people has to understand, that the these models are as good as the data they provide, and these models cannot be like uh, more intelligent than that. So there is shortcoming, and that data has to be very very clean or very very easy to understand by the model, as it has to be understood by the human, right? So the data quality matters. And the second thing that matters is figuring out the exact workflow that would be automated. I have seen a lot of time people would try to automate the full thing. So they would say, "Hey, like I work for like I'm trying to build maybe a loan in automation, and I want that fully automated." Now the risk is there that sometimes humans as a risk manager, they might take judgment call, they might have many other information, but these are not known to the AI, right? So it's
Mm.
better that you give more deterministic, more measurable steps to the AI, and then let the human, so that's what we call as human in the loop or human intervention, that they can do the more critical steps. So that I think another thing to look out for, which also ties back to the reliability part. So I think these are the few things that any companies adopting AI agents should be very, very cautious about.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave. That's super clear to hear. So, like you mentioned, reliability, understand the shortcomings of your model and plan around that. Understand the safety implications, especially when you're not self hosting an
Yes.
LLM and you're using one of the ready-made providers and you're using that. Understand that your data is going to go there. So what's the data that you're okay with sending? Is it personal data? Then don't send it. Is it your company's internal moat, your secret sauce? Don't send that out.
Yes.
And of course, like you mentioned, for everything, the key aspect is data. So that's
Yeah.
something that I've seen a lot of companies overlook, which is the data aspect, right? You expect
Yeah.
the magic to happen, but you need to make sure that the data is correct for the magic to
Correct.
happen.
Yeah. Exactly.
So thank you so much for sharing your insights, Dave. It's been great having you on the show. And
Thanks.
I'm sure our viewers will also have a lot of value from the inputs that you provided. And so super happy to have you here. And that's all that we have in this episode of AI Minutes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.